point that we want to make. Every moshel lemato, we say it's a moshel to the way it is l'mayla. But we have to at the same time understand that it's only a moshel.
The point that you were trying to bring by this moshel is what? Because I don't know if I got it right. What did you try to explain with the moshel?
The Indian that Atzilus is Bechinas Kiruv and Ihu B'chayei Echad and Nihu Gamei Echad. And the object of the moshel, the point in there is that we benefit directly from the light of the sun, not through a keli. There is a deeper aspect to this, and this is what we made a point, that what we benefit from is not just the light, but from the sun itself. Because the light is directly connected to the sun. In this respect, that we benefit directly from the sun, it's not, here it is difficult to correlate it to the way it is l'mayla. You follow me?
I understand it's difficult.
Yeah, but because okay, the Indian that oir, we explain the difference between oiris and keli. That oiris is the direct hashpah. Keli is only a means by which it is being transmitted.
Right, but you just explain it by water, because you can't say it by light.
Right.
Physical.
Yeah.
That's why I brought the water.
That's right. The Indian of Yiv Chayei Yiv Galmei Echad is saying the deeper aspect of this. Because Chayehi is the Oiris, Garmehi are the Keilim. So, in the case of the sun, you say we get the light from the sun. So we benefit directly from the light. The light is also only an emanation, only a revelation coming from the sun. It's not the sun itself. Is speaking about something, is saying that Ihu, the sun itself, the source, is one thing with the oil and one thing with the keli. Not just the light, but the source of the light, which is the sun. For this, we didn't really go this far last time in the Moshe. The Indian of Ir v'chayei echad, are we ready to sing it? The Indian of Ir v'chayei echad, Ir v'gamei echad, is deeper than even the Indian of oil per se. I explained in one of the general sessions the difference between light and day. I don't know if you would remember. Because the Torah says that Hashem created light, and then He called light day. What's the point? What does it mean He called light day? Light and day is the identical thing. To understand this, you have to examine the whole phenomenon of light as we see it. We have, generally speaking, two types of light. We have daylight, and we have artificial light, electric light, candle light. And what is the difference? What is the difference whether you look in this when you see something through a candlelight or you see something because of daylight? No difference. In seeing that object, there's no difference. But there's a fundamental difference in how, in the effect of that sight. I'll explain to you what it means. When you have a candle shining on the sefer and you see the sefer, then the light is focused directly to illuminate this particular sefer, so that you should be able to see it. Which means that essentially the darkness remains. It's generally, basically dark. But you have a light that makes you see this particular sefer. So it illuminates this object. But it doesn't change from darkness to light. You won't say that since the candle is shining on the sefer, therefore over here it's day. It's not day, it's night. But you can see it by night, because you have a candle. When the daylight, when the sun comes up, it changes the whole thing. It isn't that you could see in the dark. It illuminates darkness completely. The fact that you could see this sefer in the daylight, you're not even aware that you could see this sefer. You could see this sefer because there is no such thing as darkness. That's why it's visible to you. It's not that you could see it because it's brought to your vision, but it's visible automatically because there is no such thing as darkness. This Indian that there is no such thing as darkness in daylight, in daytime, is not only because it's a much bigger light and encompasses a bigger area. Therefore, you don't see the end, you don't see where it's dark, you see only light. Because let's say you're in the room and you have a lot of electric lights. Also, you see more than one sefer. The Indian behind it is not that there's a big light, but that there is the luminary, there is a source of light. This is what changes it from day to night, from night to day. It's not just you have the light, you have the actual source for the light. Since you have the actual source, there's no possibility of it being dark. Because you have the sun. You with me?
No, I don't know. That's key because at the same time, because a candle, you're saying, it's just bigger. So
a candle is a source for a focused light.
Right.
It's not a source for light in general. The sun is such a source. Again, here's the difference between a mashal and a nimshal. Because in Gashmis, this is a bigger light and a smaller light.
Right.
The difference, though, is, even in our experience, a candle you have to strike a match and light it.
Right.
The sun, you don't have to strike a match and light it. It's an essential light. It's not that it was lit up. There is the luminary, the source of light. That cannot be dark. So that what the light reveals to you is not only that it's light, but that it's daytime. Daytime means that it's not a time for darkness. It's a different time. This is the pshat in the pasuk. Hashem made light, and then he said, "Vayikra Elokim lo oir yoim." And then afterwards, On the fourth day, he created the sun and the moon. And he appointed the sun to rule not in the night, in the day. When Hashem is Bayoy. Because the sun has this quality, this aspect in Gashmius that it renders day, not light.
So it's more than light.
It's more than light. This Inyan, this is called Ihu. Ihu is the source, not the light itself, not the Chaye, not the Oiris, but the source. When you have the source, it's a totally different revelation than when you have the light. And to explain this, but you follow me, right? When you have the source, yeah, it's a totally different thing than when you have that which emanates from the source.
Okay, it cannot be stopped, you say.
What?
It cannot be stopped. It cannot be...
Yes, the Indian that it cannot understand. What's the sense behind it?
It's true. It's like...
Right. It's true in and of itself. It's not that it's just
It's not
factually true. It's not just factually, just actively true, but this is truth in itself. In Tanya, the Alter Rebbe explains between the difference between Kedusha and Klippa. And he says that Kedusha receives its highest from Elokus b'derech ponim, and Klippa receives its highest from Elokus, also from Elokus, but be'ochir. What's the difference? It receives the same highest. It receives highest from Elokus. What's the difference whether it's ponim or ochir? And the difference is that when you receive highest 100 ponim, then you're not just receiving the highest, but you're receiving the relationship to the giver of the highest. Just when a person gives a gift, when you give a gift to a friend, what is the important aspect in this gift is not what you give him. It is the fact that you're relating to him. It's your relationship to him. The fact that you give him a gift and he receives a gift from you. That's what's count. What's the more important thing. The gift is like the oil, is the means to transmit and to express your relationship. It is not the actual meaning of the whole transaction. The gift is like the oil. So when you give it, knagit ponim, you give not only the oil, but you also give ihu, you give yourself. When it's knagit ocher, you give the oil, but you don't give yourself. You don't want to know him? Verstehst? This is the difference. Because the real chayas, the real truth, is not in the kelim and not in the oir, it is in the etzem. So when you receive oir and you don't have the etzem, you don't have anything. In Atzilus is iyu v'chayei iyu v'garmei echad. That means that there is the etzem in everything. Even in the cave. This is the pshat. Atzilus is b'chinas kir. It does not have a distance. It is not a mitzias, a separate mitzias, because it's aware of the etzem all the time.
Through every aspect.
In every, even cave.
Okay. By this you don't have moshel, right? To say that Keli, you Gamoy had you don't have moshel here,
right? We have mashalim for everything, but it's very distant. Because as a matter of fact, when you give a gift to someone, in a gift there are two parts. Even in the gift there are two parts. The proper way to give a gift is you have to select the proper gift that's suitable for this person. If you just go and buy something for $100, it cost me $100. But it costs $100, that's good enough. But you did not measure it, you did not figure that this is something that this person is going to appreciate. This is like giving him the keli, but not the oil. If you give him, but you're giving him frontally, you're giving him happily, so that means that there is the connection. You understand? But it's not really it's a connection, but it's still a chitzonic connection. The real connection is when you go and select the gift properly, and it also costs you money. So therefore, there is the keli and the oil, and there you are giving him the gift, and then you're collecting it. So even in the keli itself, there is also coming through the fact that you are giving it to him. When he sees the gift, and he sees the fact that you have contemplated, you have actually given it some thought, and designed it suitable for him, so then he sees the actual message in the gift. You know, that you're communicating with him, and this gift, it's like the oil. The money I spent for him, this is the game. And in both instances, it goes back to you that you gave it to him. Okay, if you can always find the final lines in the Moshe. Okay, ready? Okay, we are a few lines below the middle of the page, with the line that starts with Chayehi. You have it? Okay. So this is still in context of explaining that this which the Zohar says, that by the creation we get to know Hashem, and this is the purpose of the creation, that he should be known. So the Rebbe says that this would be suitable when you talk about Atzilus, because Atzilus, there is talking the knowledge of Hashem. Now we explained that Hashem himself is known there. But the low worlds, starting from Bria, the way, the manner to which they came to be is alidei hester vehelem haboire mehanivra. The manner that they came into being is by removing and concealing the boire from the nivra, the creator from the created. In effect, this means that you still emanate, you still speak about the same thing, but you don't know where the speech comes from. It's like speaking through a ramcall, through an amplifier.
They don't get essence.
Huh?
They don't get essence.
You don't get the essence. Shelo yoyir v'yurgash bahem mehuz ha'oir. They do not feel the mehuz ha'oir. Which means that they get everything from the kelim, not from the mehuz ha'oir. I think we'll come back to discussing this. But we have to get a little more ground here. Although that the oil of the neshama of biyah, that level of oil is called the neshama in biyah, hu bechinas ha'elokus the kelim da atzilus kiyodua. It is the elokus of the Kelim Datzilus.
Sorry, you said neshama is it reference to or? It means or.
Right. There are madregas in oil itself, and neshama is the highest level, right? Nefesh ruach neshama. So the oil of neshama of biyah is a lakus. Bechinas a lakus, the kelim datzilus. We said before that the kelim of atzilus are also a lakus. Yeh v'chayei echad, yeh v'garmei echad. That's also a lakus. And the oil of neshama de biyah is the alakus from the kelim datzilus. Kiyodua. I'll come back to this. I just want to get a little ground. Zehu oir. However, this oir, the oir that is representative of the kelim datzilus, oir the alakus of kelim datzilus, einoi nirgash mahusoi klal behakelim de biyah. The mahus of this oil is not felt in the kelim de biyah.
Oil of kelim of atzilus.
Huh? Oil of kelim datzilus. This is like where it's coming from, but the mahus of this oil is not felt in the kelim de biyah. U'kamaybar hatikunim, and as the tikunim says, the ba'olam ha'beriyo, that in the world of beriyo, lav ihu v'chayeh v'garmei chad. There it is not like in Atzilus, ihu v'chayeh v'garmei chad. It's not. U'meshum zeh, nasu b'bchinas yeshu mitzius. And this is why they become, they come to the state of being a yesh and mitzius. So here, I'd like to discuss slightly this. There's a lot of concepts here. We say that there is Nigash Mahus, and he seems to correlate, if it's Nigash Mahus, to correlate whether you margish the Lakus. And because he says that it's the Lakus, the Kelim, the Atzilus, but the Mahus of this soil is not felt in Kelim the Biyah. So these are all words, but we have to get a little closer to these words and understand what they imply. What is this about? Otherwise, they remain just words. What is mahus, and what is a lakus? What is the lakus, the kelim datzilus? So we will understand what's missing, and why it's called a yesh. As a result, they become a yesh. First, we have to go back what we just now discussed, I think, quite conclusively. The for in Atzilus is and as we said, it means that the ihu, the source, the etzem, is recognized in the oiros and recognized in the kelim. What is the inyan that the etzem itself is recognized? What is the difference whether it's the oil or the etzem? So we gave the moshel of aponim, or can I get ocher, but what is, in essence, what is the difference? What is the difference in terms of what you receive, what you have? Not in terms of your relationship to the source, but the difference in terms of what are you getting? Lepoel mamash, when you give, it says, can I get ocher, you give them also the same thing. You give them also the same food, whatever it is. Or you give Canadian pony. What in effect is the difference? Yes, there is a relationship. What difference whether there is a relationship or not? Besides the meaningful, the pleasantness of it, but what is in essence the difference? Okay, you're with me, right? Mm-hmm. The difference in general between etzem and oil is that oil coming back to the motion of the sun and the light of the sun. Even though the sun is here and the sun illuminates and makes it day, we still know that it's there only because the light of the sun is here. If the sun should move away, the sun will remain sun, but its light will not be here. Also in Tanya, in Shayachad Ve'emunah, you probably learned what the Alter Rebbe explains, what is the light that is within the sun itself. That the light within the sun itself is bottled over there. You learned this. What is the meaning? The difference between the sun and its light is that the light comes from the sun, but it has to come from someplace. The light that we have here comes from someplace. It is not here intrinsically. The sun, within the sun, the light is there, not coming from someplace. It is there intrinsically. Which means over there the light is truth itself. Whereas here, it is true because we have the sun, but it's not truth itself, because it has to come from the sun. This effect is the difference between etzem and the gili from etzem, and the oir. Oir also expresses the etzem, but it only expresses the etzem. Etzem is the etzem itself. In Atzilus, because Iyo v'chayei echad, in Iyo v'garmei echad. In effect, there is the sun presence all the time. So even though it receives only the oil of the sun, but it also does not have the sense that it's possible that there should not be the sun.
So, like you say, that it's in the sun itself?
It's not. It's almost like in the sun itself. It's not in the sun itself. Let's say if the sun were like when you, if the sun were stationary, would not move away. It will be completely constantly here. So we would still get our light from the light of the sun, but it will be in the sense that we're getting it from the light of the sun. But the source is always there. So there's no possibility that it shouldn't be there. So therefore it means that light becomes an essential truth, a real thing. When the light can come and go, there is something lacking. So yes, we have it true, but we have it true because it comes here. And when it doesn't come here, we don't have it.
You don't have a relation with the thing itself.
It's we can have a relation, but it's not a relation in the sense that there's no possibility of us being otherwise. As long as there's possibility, it's possible for us to be separated and be ayesh. So the difference between etzem and oir is that in the etzem is the truth itself, but it cannot be any different. Etzem, and the oir means that it comes from the etzem. If it comes, it can come constantly, but it can also not come. And there is always a sense that it can also not come. Okay. Elokus, this is the etzem of truth. When there is Gilui Elokus, there are two levels of Gilui Elokus. Right? You learn about Nisim. Van Nisim Gluyim, you see Elokus in action. And then there is when the Elokus is contained in Teva. So we say that when there is Nisim Gluyim, you see Elokus. When it's contained in Teva, you don't see it. However, The inyan that you don't see it in Teva is because the Teva hides it. Because you see the Teva rather than the Elokus. But if you trained your eye, in other words, if you actually broke through the facade and the helm of Teva, and you see how Teva itself is Elokus, then the Gili Elokus that comes through Teva will be much more profound than the Gili Elokus that comes from Nes. Because Nes means I'm showing you something. It's a temporary show. But Teva means that you see it in the very mitzvahs, in the very existence itself. Dinya Holocaust. How is it possible? Okay, you understand so far. How is it possible that you should see a Elokus through Teva? You're saying Teva conceals an Elokus. What does it mean that you should be able to see Elokus through Teva? Teva and Elokus are not the same thing. Well, you learned about this, right? There's a Elokus that's contained in Teva. And it's possible to see through Teva and see a Elokus in Teva. But how is it possible?
You need 20/20 vision.
You need 20/20 vision. Right. And what is 20/20 vision going to do for you? You're going to see Teva more sharply.
It's a start.
So, let me explain to you. But I'd like to pick up.
I'm with you, Rabbi.
Yeah, okay, good. What is the real difference between Teva and Elokus? Teva, effectively, is a union from cause and effect. Like we say, it's Alpi Teva that now is light. Why? Because the sun has turned around, or the earth turned around, whichever way you want. And we're facing the sun, and therefore it's light. If you face away from it, then it becomes dark. So it's Alpi Teva. There's nothing to it. There's nothing, no mystery to it, no meaning to it. It just happens that we face the sun, becomes light. We face away from the sun, it becomes dark. When we face the sun and it becomes light, then we can do a lot of different things to it. But as far as the sun is concerned, and as far as the phenomenon of the fact that it's light, that's totally meaningless. It's what we make of it. We jump on the opportunity to say, oh, it's light. Okay, let me go and do my thing. But not that the light itself is meaningful. This is the essence of Teva. This is the essence. This is why Teva conceals Elokus. Because in Teva you see everything at the Gashmistic level. There's no real meaning to it. You ascribe meaning to it. But it's not the real thing. When you have 20/20 vision, as you say, and you say, no, this is not what happens. What really happens is that Hashem made day. There is day. The reason that the sun, that we face the sun in daytime is because it's daytime. That's why we face the sun. Not the other way around. If you look in the Chumash, you find that what was created first? Daytime. Day was created first. And then came the sun. Mitzvah Inyan from Elokus, it is the meaning, the real quality, the real essence is what was created. Then there are means to sustain it in Gashmis. You understand? Just the reverse. this inyan that like I said, day is the real thing, not light. This is what we call the truth of existence. Just like you say, there is existence, there is a world. And you say, because there is a world, therefore there is existence. Say no. There is existence, and that's why there is a world. There's a lakus, and that's why there is a world. So that in real truth, when you recognize a lakus, a lakus becomes the simplest and most obvious thing. In other words, it's not even concealable. Because it's the real mitzvah, the real truth of existence, rather than the fact of it.
How's this seen?
Okay, let me explain to you. There's a lot of different stages. Okay, just stay with me. When we see things, right, sight, we consider the most clear revelation possible is in sight. When you hear about something, or you even touch something, it's not comparable to seeing it. There's one shortcoming in sight, which means sight like it convinces you of the truth of something, but it's not an absolute thing. Why? Because in sight, the truth of the inyan, the truth of sight exists only while you keep your eyes open. If you choose to close your eyes, so the truth can be right around you, right in front of you, and you refuse to see it. And you refuse to see it, you won't see it. It's not, in other words, it's not an absolute. Absolute means that you cannot but see it. If you can avoid seeing it, if you can ignore it, you have to be stupid to do that. But if you choose to be stupid and you don't want to see it, then it's possible not to see it. So that means that there is something even deeper than sight. There's a certain sense that is even deeper than that which we see when we open our eyes. Ever notice that when we say Shema Yisrael, we close our eyes? Why we close our eyes? What do we say? Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. And what is the kavanah? What do you have to have in mind when you say Echad? Aleph Ches Dalet. That the Aleph unites the Ches, the Zayin Vikim and the Oretz, and the Dalet sit in the four corners of the world, right? When you close your eyes, there is no Milo Mato. There is no Dalet sitting. You don't see anything. What's the point? You should open your eyes and say, oh, wherever I look, it's Echad. Instead, we close our eyes and we say Shema Yisrael. It seems to be contradicting. We should have to open our eyes and say, okay, I'm looking at Dalet City, I'm looking around myself, I'm looking up and down, and this is all Echad, all Aleph.
Say Shema.
What?
Say Shema here, not see.
Say Shema here, not see. But this, right. But Dalet Sitrin and Milo Mata you can only see.
Yeah.
So you have to know what is it? What is this? It's true. It's like a Shema, but it's talking about Dalet Sitrin. What's behind it? What is behind it? The Dalet Sitrin, there's four corners and up and down that you see in the world. This is what you see with your physical eye. But deep down in your neshama, that is not the reality. This is not what tells you that you are for real and life is real. This is what you see in the world as a result of the fact that you are alive. The Dalet Sitrin and the Milo Mato is what you see in your mind's eye. In other words, even when you close your eyes, that's what you see then. When you close your eyes, you then become aware of a different, of a deeper aspect of Milo Mato and Dalet Sitrin. Such an aspect that is undeniable. Not like this, which you can close your eyes and not see. There you see that for which you cannot close your eyes. When a person closes his eyes and sees nothing, is he aware? Of course he's aware. But it's an awareness that you cannot close your eyes to. There's a deeper awareness than what you see with your eyes. This awareness is not possible to become oblivious to. This is because of the aspect of Elokus. This is truth itself. Truth itself you cannot become oblivious to. And this is what is meant over here. And we say that in Biyah, the Mahus Ha'oir is not felt. Even though that this is, Biyah is from Elokus, the Kelim Datzilus. And if it is Elokus, then it is a truth that is absolute. And therefore it should be felt completely, because this is Elokus, and Elokus is a truth that cannot be denied. But still, that this oir coming from the oir, the Kelim Datzilus, the Elokus Datzilus, which is an absolute truth, is undeniable. But they don't. But the mahus of this oir is not felt in the Kelim Datzilus, and therefore they are not aware of Elokus the same way as in Atzilus. And this is why Nasu b'bchinas Yeshu Mitzius. This is why they become a b'chinas Yeshu Mitzius. What is Yeshu Mitzius? Yeshu Mitzius is, for this we have a lot of mashalim. Yeshu Mitzius is, why is it that we see the world, we see up and down, and we see it, and we see Dalet Sitrin? Not because it's intrinsically true, because we can close our eyes and not see it, but because it's a yesh. Which we discussed already, we'll have a chance to discuss more. It's a yesh. It's not because it's true in itself. And because it becomes a yesh, that's why we see it. Why does it become a yesh? Because it's lacking the mahus of Elokus. If it has any mahus of Elokus, it wouldn't be yesh. Yesh and Elokus are two opposites. Elokus means that which is intrinsically true, and yesh means that which appears to be true. That announces its presence. It's not intrinsically true. I'm sorry?
Why is yesh opposite from Elokus?
Yesh is opposite to Elokus.
Elokus is yesh.
What?
Elokus is not yesh.
Elokus is called Yesh Hu Amiti. Not Yesh. Yesh Hu Amiti. Yesh Amiti and Yesh Umitzius are not the same thing at all. I explained one time, I said we have to go, we should go into it. Explained one time, in this class, you remember, right? That everything, well, what we have is first we have the Yesh. The reason we see it is because there is a Yesh, not because of what it is. It's the opposite of Elokus. In Elokus, the truth of what it is, that's what's present. In Oyer, the reason that the Oyer Hashemesh, that we see Oyer Hashemesh not because it says I'm here, but because it's Oyer. There isn't a secondary means. When you have light shining on an object and you see the object, well, when you see the object through light, which is more true to say, that the light took the object and brought it to you and said, through this light, and the light was like a keli, a means through which you knew the object. The light illuminates the object, and then you see the object itself. It doesn't become a means through which you get to know it. It's not like a secondary means. That means that there is no yesh. It's just eliminating the darkness, and that's why you see it. It's not a secondary step. This is okay. There's much to be spoken on this, but this is basically the principle. Elokus and Yesh are mamish two opposites. Yesh means that it's whole mitzvahs. Huh?
Maybe I understand, but everything that Yesh has, Elokus has. Only Elokus is something that Yesh is missing. Yesh is compartmentalized. It's like you said. It's the medium and the content, two separate things. But Elokus, it's medium and content all in the same cup of tea. You know what I mean? It's like you can't say that it's the opposite. It's not the opposite. It has that and it's more and more.
It doesn't have medium at all. The content, in fact, the content and the medium are one and the same thing. So there is no medium. Medium means that there is something there in addition to content.
An expression.
A means through which you see it. There is no means.
But
you see it because it's true.
But nevertheless, Elokus is expressed.
When the kus is expressed is when the kus is put into a keli. But the kus per se is not expressed. Yes, and to express a union alaki. That's the way when you put it in the keli. But be'etzem, doesn't need to be expressed at all.
Right. So there's
it's true in itself.
Right. And in that sense, they're complete opposites.
Complete opposites, completely. And when you remove the elokus, when you remove the intrinsic truth, that's when it becomes a yesh. So therefore, elokus is not begili in biyah. U'ba'olam is biyah gufa, and then amongst the olam is biyah, starting from bria on down, within that general sphere, in the olam is ho'elyenim ho'ruchniim, the higher worlds, like bria in Yitzira Eif and his havusam hu, the way that they were created is sheyurgash bohem. Sheyurgash bohem, that it should be felt within them. I'll skip the parenthesis for a moment and then go back to it. That should be felt within them, al kol ponim, At the minimum, bechinas ha-metzius dalakus. The union of metzius of Elokus. Metzius means the presence of Elokus. They feel the presence of Elokus, not the Mahus Elokus, but the Metzius Elokus. Mahus Elokus means the Elokus itself. Metzius Elokus means that there is such a thing as Elokus. And in the parentheses, the Rebbe explains what he means by the word Yurgash. Yurgash means you feel it. Normally the word Yurgash, it's felt, means it's felt through and through in the very essence of your mitzias. Here the Rebbe says that's not what the case is. What we mean Yurgash over here, as also der Hertwer. As all der Hertwer. Der Hertwer means Herrn. What does heaven mean? Like you said, Shema.
Yeah.
You hear it. Not that they feel it. They hear it. They sense it. Because you're talking about Mitzias, not the Mahus. The only thing is that the reason we call Yurgash Bahem, why don't you say they know it? The difference is that the reason we say Yurgash, that it's felt, is that when you say they know it, then that means they found out about it. That means that there was a moment when they didn't know, and then they came to know it. That's a much further level. Yurgash means that they always know it. So therefore it's called Yurgash. But it's not real Hergesh, it is their Herr. They sense it, they know it essentially, but it's an intrinsic knowledge. It's a knowledge that is intrinsic in their existence, in their mitzias. It's not knowledge that they find out about it.
It's like we know about Shema, like you close eyes you can see. Like this? Like what? I mean, can they deny it? They can't deny Elokus, right?
They can't deny Elokus, right. Right.
But they still feel their own mitzias.
That's right.
Because it's not, don't know Mechus Elokus.
They don't have the Mahus. The Mahus is them. So they have the Mitzias of Elokus. That's when the Yurgash Bahem, they're Herren Elokus. Not that they feel it through and through.
This aspect of closing the eyes and still knowing, I thought that was Mahus though. Maybe
Yeah, but that's the Mahus of Mitzias, right? Not Mahus Elokus. It's a Mitzias. I'll call ponim mechias mitzias delakus. V'lochein, since that they feel, and as we said, their head, they sense, they hear in their very essence, they hear the mitzias of delakus. Lochein einam bebechinus yesh mamosh. That's why they are not in a state of yesh mamosh, or true yesh. Einam bebechinas pirud mamosh. And therefore they are not in a state of complete pirud, of complete separation, as a separate entity. Ve'elam ho'asiyo hagashmi. We'll rehash this a little bit. Ve'elam ho'asiyo hagashmi. But then when you come down to the lowest world, Elam ho'asiyo hagashmi, the physical world, nizhavo davko bo'ifun kozeh, came into being, was created intentionally in such a manner, shelo yurgash, that in this world should not be felt, meaning it should not be sensed, afilu bechinas hametzias delakus, even the metzias of Elokus. If we are to find out about the presence, the existence of Elokus, that's already a find. But it's not compelling. And they have become separate, mamash nifrodim, from their source. They don't sense. Nifrodim im koiram is really a tragic thing. They don't sense there is such thing as a mokir. Rak al yidei avoda v'higia. Only through the process of avoda and higia. Sometimes we'll discuss the difference between avoda and higia. In any case, it is hard labor. Yasig v'yargish as ha'oir ha'oliki. He will be able to reach and to comprehend to the point where you actually feel an oir ha'oliki. He'll feel an oir ha'oliki, which means not only that he convinced himself, he has proved that there is a lakus, that the lakus creates the world, but he'll actually relate to it, to the oir ha'oliki. It's possible through avodah. I'm sorry, but I told you, sometimes when we were ready for it, we'll discuss avodah and higia. Right now, our avodah is to try to understand what the Bible says. V'yochel lahargish benafshoy, and it's possible to reach a point that he can actually feel in his nefesh, meaning in himself, in his general experience, gam bechinas ha'oir shelamayla meho'ilos. He can even feel, ultimately through avodah, he can reach unlimited heights. The Rebbe says here in parentheses that even though we're in Olam Hasiya, it doesn't mean that we are closed off. That through avodah, because our neshamas are connected to the highest heights, and therefore it is possible to ultimately to feel even the oil that's lamayla meho'ilos, v'gam bechinas ha'oy mehuz ha'oir, even the mehuz ha'oir, v'hu inyan elom chotira b'chayecha. This is the inyan in this. It mentions it in Tanya. Elom chotira b'chayecha. Elom means your world, means the eternal world. You can feel b'chayecha during your lifetime here. It's possible to have it. As is explained elsewhere. Avol, but you have to remember that zeho alidei aveda v'higia dafke. That this can only come through aveda v'higia. Through hard labor. Avodah, you're working himself in. And then he says one final inyan to give us a clarity in this. V'gam zeh, and even this, meaning even after the avodah v'higia, that you can come to the point of feeling mehuz ha'oir, the highest levels. It still doesn't compare to the way it is lamayla. Why? Because einoi bebchinas hechrochiyus. It is never in bebchinas hechrochiyus.
What is Gimel Zayin?
Gamzeh. Einoi bebchinas hechrochiyus. It is not in a state of hechrochiyus. Hechrochiyus means must. That it's a must be. You cannot but see it. No, there's no such thing in Gashmis. Shemuchrach b'zeh. Muchrach b'zeh, that he becomes compelled to see it. No such thing. It remains b'chira v'rotzin that you choose to see it. If you choose to see it and you choose to be magish, through avodah v'higia you could. But it remains in your choice. It's never that it's compelling you. This is why it is possible that a tzaddik gomur should have to show him fall down. A tzaddik gomur, he has reached the highest heights. He doesn't have a yetzer hara. So how is it possible we have stories of a tzaddik gomur falling down to the lowest levels and being torn away? Because even though he sees the mehuz ha'olakus, he sees it because he wants to see it. Only when he wants to see it. If he chooses not to see it, he will not see it. And if for some reason something gives a turn in his mind, and he wants to turn away, like we said before, you see something in front of your eyes. It's undeniable. Begashmis. It's undeniable. So that's notice a compelling truth. Not so. If you choose to deny it, you could. It's a compelling truth only because you are inclined to looking for the truth. You want to know what the truth is in front of you. But if you're disinclined to seeing the truth, you won't see it.
Even after you see it,
Even after you see it.
it's still why you're still having a suffix.
You don't have a suffix. It still remains in your choice. This will be for today. So you got something to work with.